Hello, and welcome to this edition of EMS Now Up Close. I am Eric Muskell with EMS Now Up Close. And today it's my pleasure to speak with Edita Dragolj. She is the head of GreenChips. GreenChips, of course, is Europe's leading AI-powered marketplace for electronic excess stock. I have actually spoken to GreenChips a couple years ago. I did an interview, but it was not with Edita. So Edita, welcome. Thank you for taking time and to speak with me today.
Yeah, hi Eric. Thanks for having me today. It's a pleasure talking to you. Not again, but the first time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Hey, listen, why don't you begin by giving everybody an explanation of who GreenChips is and what your mission is and what role you play in the industry?
Of course. Yeah, as Eric already mentioned, my name is Edita Dragolj, and I'm working in the electronics industry since more than 10 years now. Better to say, I started 10 years ago at SA Connect. SA Connect is a company based in Austria with more than 30 years of experience in the electronic industry. And while SA Connect has its roots in the electronic component distribution, GreenChips was created as a dedicated brand to tackle the challenge of excess electronic components. We have created an AI-driven marketplace which connects the global, let's say, supply chain in a smarter and more sustainable way. Because most of the EMS companies and OEMs, they have a problem with excess stock. Or let's say it's more a major challenge in the electronic industry for these companies. And it affects also the sellers and buyers in different ways. The reason for excess stock can be changes in production plans, canceled orders, long lead times, or design changes. And for OEM and EMS companies, this means that they are tying up capital in unused stock, or they are using up warehouse spaces, and at the end of the year, they are facing write-offs. And on top of that, many struggles to find the efficient way to resell these components. And as a result of these components often end up unsold, or they even get scrapped. And on the other hand, we have the buyers. They often face sourcing challenges due to long lead time, supply chain disruptions, or rising component prices. And this means that the buyer needs trusted sources that can provide quality assured, immediately available components without the risk of counterfeit or unreliable suppliers. And that's where GreenChips comes into play. We bridge this gap between sellers with buyers. We try to connect them efficiently and ensure that components find their way to where they are needed the most.
Yeah.
So
to be clear though, Edita, who are the sellers and who are the buyers that you deal with?
The sellers are, the sellers, we call them partners, and our partners are EMS companies or OEMs, which have problems with excess stock, which have full warehouses, and they need to get rid of these parts. And on the other hand, we have the buyers that can also be OEMs and EMS companies, but also brokers, independent brokers, which are in contact with OEMs and the EMS. So this is the main audience we have on GreenChips.
Okay. And how does the process work then when if an EMS, as an example, contacts GreenChips and says, I got all this stuff, right, excess stuff, what can you do with it? Do you have to screen that, look at kind of their list of materials and decide what you can take or what you can't, and then you make a decision and that moves into your possession?
Exactly. So the potential partner or EMS company, OEM, they can upload their inventory or the access list on our platform. And then they get market analysis from us where we say, okay, your excess stock is worth, I don't know, $1 million. Let's keep it big. And we make the analysis for them, and at the end of the day, we offer them two models. So the seller can choose. Do they want to have a consignation model, what means that the good remains the property of the company and can be retrieved at any time in case of a sudden need? Or the second model is a commission model, where the parts are sold to us, but only at a lump sum, so they can write off the items, and the partner continues to receive commissions for sales. So these are the two models we are offering. It's just they need to decide, do they want to have the access still in their books? Then they can choose the consignment inventory, or do they want to write off the goods immediately? Then they can choose the commission model.
Okay.
We are not doing this manually. We have an AI, as you already mentioned, that we are an AI-driven platform. Our AI scans the global supply chain information and market trends and guarantee the best possible price for the seller and also for the buyer. We also try to ensure that the buyer receives the high quality components, but also with a bit of older date codes, because access is always a bit tricky, because you have these questions, how old are the goods? And some companies still have these restrictions. And we try to bring back these goods in the market to also reduce the e-waste for the companies. And they can buy high quality goods at a cheaper price than you can find it at authorized distribution or on the market.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I was going to ask, I was wondering about the whole date code issue, because I know that is a big topic in the industry currently. So other than date codes, older kind of, is there any type of material that you would not purchase or get involved with?
Normally I say we take all, but what we cannot take is our customized parts. Customized parts are unfortunately a no-go on the market. It's impossible to sell them online. So that's the only, I would say, category that we cannot promote. Otherwise, we take active, we take passive parts. Mechanical parts are always also a bit tricky, but yeah, it's always possible to find somewhere a demand to sell it globally.
So just out of curiosity, how does that work? So they say, here's our material. You'll say, okay, we'll give you $1 million for it. But if you get the material, I'm assuming they're vouching or claiming that it's all in good condition, right? But if you receive it and it's degraded or compromised or in some kind of thing, do you have to do testing, or how does that get handled?
Yeah, unfortunately, we are not able to do testing internally. What we do is incoming goods inspection. We are also ISO 9001 certified. That means that we check really every item that we receive. And in case we see that the parts are oxidated, that the part has oxidations or the pins are leaded, then we need to contact the partner one more time and ask for that we can scrap their goods immediately or send them back to them. So we want to make sure that the goods we receive are really, that they have the best quality, and that we don't sell, I mean, counterfeit products are anyway a big topic, and that's why we try to get the goods only from OEM and EMS companies. And we have also in our contract defined that we want to have the traceability documents if necessary. So they have to guarantee that the parts are really coming from the official distribution and not from the open market. So that's a really important point for us. And that's also a benefit of GreenChips, that we don't sell counterfeit parts and that we check each part we receive. That's also why we are storing the parts in our warehouse. So we are not showing parts that are not in our warehouse. So yeah, that's probably one of the biggest benefits of GreenChips, that we have the parts in stock and that we guarantee 100% quality.
Okay. And by the way, I forgot to ask about that earlier. As far as the geographic coverage that you provide, it's not just in Europe, because we were talking before, you have something in Florida as well. So to explain to the audience kind of which geographic areas you cover.
So we have, I mean, SA Connect has 3 locations. We have the headquarter in Austria, in Lustenau. Then we have another office in Melbourne, in Florida, and also in Hong Kong. And currently we are actively working with partners in the DACH region, means in Germany, in Austria, and Switzerland, we have already achieved a lot of new contracts with partners in this region. Our next focus is expanding across Europe, also tackling Eastern Europe a bit more. And after that, we are looking forward to North America and Asia. And this will be, I think it's helpful that we have already locations there, so we can really work with the OEMs and EMS companies with local people. And well, we are well positioned to scale globally and support partners wherever they are located.
Okay, very good, very good. And speak to that. We've talked about the OEMs and the EMS. They're on both the seller side and the buyer side can be. Talk about the benefits that you provide to these companies.
So the benefits that we offer is, first of all, that we really have the goods stored in our warehouse. That means that the partner has more space in the warehouse. Then also the sustainable focus. We haven't talked about this yet, but GreenChips is also on a sustainable mission, let's say it like this, because bringing back these parts in the market again, these unused parts, prevents the OEM and EMS companies from scraping of new and unused components. This automatically reduces the e-waste, which is, by the way, one of the fastest growing waste streams globally. And it also enables components to re-enter the supply chain where they are needed. This is one of the benefits that GreenChips definitely has that other companies which are offering these excess stock management, I would say not they forget it, but in the electronic industry, the focus is not on the sustainable thoughts, but aspect, yeah. That's why we are trying to bring this more in the to bring it more present in the daily business. And also the companies, if they can reduce the e-waste, they don't have these scrapping costs. And bringing the parts out from the warehouse ensures that they can have more and free space for new projects. And also one of the benefits that we offer is that that the partner can always retrieve back the goods. So if there appears a sudden demand, and the goods are still in our warehouse, we haven't sold it, they can always call them back.
Okay, that's good. And I was going to ask about the sustainability, because I know that's a big part. I know that the mission there at GreenChips is really to help reduce the e-waste while supporting companies and selling their excess stock, right? So it's, achieving the former by doing the latter. I believe also that you support that by also donating. What is it for the planet, right? You support. I saw that on your website. Tell me about that, because you're not just actively doing this; you're also giving back.
Yeah, exactly. When we started this GreenChips project, we said, okay, we need to define a sum that we want really to invest every year. So not only greenwashing, but we really want to invest it. And we defined that we will invest 10% of our profit in green projects and sustainable projects. That means we are working together with Plant of Planet, and I think the other platform is called Treedom. Not sure, sorry, because I'm not the sustainable manager in the company. But anyway, and we also try to support there where it's needed, not planting trees somewhere where they are not needed. but we have a project in South Italy where we are helping to reforest the olive trees there, because there was like this, they had the disease and they had to cut
Mm.
down all the olive trees. That's why the price of the olive oil increased so much. Yeah. And we have planted, I think, over 500 of new olive trees. This money was gained over GreenChips in the last years, and that's just the aspect we want to keep in our daily business. That whenever a buyer buys a part from this excess inventory we have on our website, it's also a profit for the future.
Yeah. No, I like that. And as a fan of Italian olive oil, I just want to say thank you to you and Green Chips for for helping to revitalize that. I think that's excellent. I think that's excellent.
Thank
So
you.
tell me, I also saw, and I mentioned your website here, but I want to come back to that because in the past year, you've relaunched your website and you did some rebranding as well in the last
Mhm.
year. I was on the site before this interview, and it makes sense and it really looks good and it flows and provides good information. But speak about that and what was behind that and the benefits of that.
Yeah, thanks for that. When we started with Green Chips 2018, it was a big challenge for us, because we never had the experience with a web shop, with a partner portal, or showing these, or working with the AI. I mean, the the old method of selling these access components was by answering emails all day long and trying to show these parts somewhere online, and waiting for the inquiries. And now with the AI and the website, it was a very new experience for all of us. But when we saw that it really worked, and also the prizes we received from the AI, that they made sense. It was a sign for us to work more in this path and also invest more. And then 2 years ago, the shortage hit, where the complete world was spinning around and no electronic components were available on the market. And there we had like a break of 2 years, because we had to invest a bit more in our logic, also to face these kinds of periods in the market.
Mm.
And after the shortage, so the last 2 years, we are investing more in the platform, because now we have the time. The market is, unfortunately, I don't want to say dead, but it's very, very slow. The components are available in the market in very high volumes, and we are trying now to invest more in these AI technology, also how we can improve our pricing, how we can work on market trends, and also on predictions, on market predictions. Because every customer I have talked to in the last years, they were asking for a tool who can predict a shortage like we had it 2 years ago. Um, and this is something we really try to use this feedback of our customers to work on things they can really use in their daily business. Um, and that's why we have decided to relaunch the site, and why we have added also more a bigger focus on the partner portal, where the companies can upload their access, where they can get a market analysis directly, just to get a feeling about the parts which are unused in their warehouse, and what kind of value they can get through GreenChips.
No. Okay. No, that's good. Listen, I'm glad to hear all this because I've been a fan of your mission, right? I think you're doing something that's good on the sustainability side and reducing the e-waste, but more importantly, you're doing so by providing a really valuable service to the industry, right? With the EMS and the OEMs. I go into a lot of EMS companies, and over the last many years, that was it. They'd walk into the warehouse and say, "This is where all the money is," right? And it
Yeah,
was
exactly.
piled high. And I know they're burning through a lot of that, but it's still not back to where it needs to be for the industry. So
Hmm.
So it's good to hear, the service that you're providing there. Before I let you go, though, let me just ask, is there anything else about GreenChips that we haven't discussed that you'd like to make sure the audience knows and hears?
Um, yeah, we try to be present glo globally, to be present, because we have these offices in Florida and in Hong Kong, and we noticed that we have a lot of customers coming from New Zealand, from South Africa, from South America, from countries where we were not expecting to have inquiries from.
Wow.
And that's a sign for us why we need to improve our platform even more, because we can really sell globally. Um, and one point that also is a benefit of GreenChips is that the OEMs and EMS companies, they don't have the time or the knowledge to sell these parts worldwide. And it's a big effort to register on all these platforms, to get these parts online, and also to whenever you have a sale, you need to create a customer in your system. You need to ship the part somewhere in a region where you have maybe never shipped. And this is a big challenge for the customers or for the OEMs and EMS companies. And that's why I always say we have the knowledge doing this. And for us, it's not a big deal creating 1,000 customers in our system, selling to 1,000 customers. That's why I say rather I leave the job to a company that really knows what they are doing, instead of spending the time which they can use for new projects and spending it internally more efficient than wasting the time in creating own accounts on the platforms and trying to sell excess stock.
No, no, that's excellent. That's a good point, and congrats. Yeah, I didn't even think with the Southern Hemisphere, as you just spoke about.
Yeah.
There's companies with dealing with us down there as well. So that's excellent. So Edita, thank you for your time today. To the audience, I'd say, if this is of interest as you're listening to this for GreenChips, check out their website at greenchips.com. You can find Edita on LinkedIn. You could probably find her through the website as well. I didn't check that, but I'm sure there's ways
Yes.
to connect with GreenChips through there, and I'd encourage people to do so and help support the mission that GreenChips is on, which I think is an admirable one. So Edita, thank you for your time today. Hope to speak to you again in the future and get some updates on activities.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, Eric.
Absolutely. Take care.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.